Chapter 4, Everest. It was a blinding blizzard, the kind that hit the Colorado mountains in January. The snow began just after dark, and by 2 a.m., when Cyril hauled the 19 candidates out of their bed, there were already 6 inches of new powder on the ground. "What's going on, Cap?" asked Chris, half asleep. "Ever spend the night on the so-called of Everest?" Cyril asked. "No." "Well, this is the next best thing. Grab the tents, camp out tonight." Bundled into their deep winter gear, they stumbled, blurry-eyed, into the storm. The biting cold woke them up in a hurry, but the operation of setting up aluminum poles was almost impossible in the blowing squall. "Let's move," called Cyril. "You'll need to do this after 11 hours on the mountain." He turned to Sammy, who was flat on her back, napping, using the folded tent as a pillow. "What's the matter, Moon? I thought you liked it extreme." "Yeah, extreme snowboarding," came the groggy reply. "Not extreme snow." The climbing brothers, Chris and Dominic, were used to working together. Theirs was the first shelter up. "I said, hold the flap, idiot," Tilt roared at Perry. Okay. The red-haired boy did his best to squeeze into what little space was left by Tilt's bulk. "What a waste of time," Tilt raged. Sierra overheard him. "No, it isn't," he said. "Seriously? Where do you think you're going summer camp? Training for hard work and miserable conditions is hard and miserable." "So, where's your tent?" challenged Tilt. "I've already done this part of the training," Sierra replied. "Easy for you to say," Tilt muttered under his breath. "You want to see my diploma?" Tilt glared back in defiance. "Fine." The expedition leader ripped off his left boot and the sock. "Annapurna, 1989. My helmet lamp malfunctioned, and I had to spend a night at 25,000 feet. The thing about frostbite is there isn't any pain. You just feel numb, but it's worse than pain because you know what's happening to you." The candidates gawked. The 2 smallest toes were missing from Ciro's foot. It was a cruel truth of high-altitude climbing. There was only one treatment for the worst kind of frostbite: amputation. For Everest hopefuls, it was a reality check. They were all accomplished alpinists, but were they ready for the brutal toll that the great mountain could impose? Even Tilt was struck dumb. "This is Honolulu compared to where we'll be in a couple months," Sierra informed them harshly. Aloha! It would have been an ideal moment to stride dramatically away, but since his boot was off, he had to hop, muttering under his breath as he disappeared into the storm. "There goes one of the all-time legends," Dominic said admiringly. "There goes one of the all-time crockpots," Tilt amended. "Like I need to look at his freak show foot." Chris glared at him. "You may be a good climber, Crowley, but it's always going to take a long time before you've got the experience of that man." Tilt spread his arms wide. "Forgive me, thinking it's stupid to freeze out here for nothing." "This is exactly the kind of camping we'll have to do on Everest," Dominic argued. "And on Everest, I won't mind doing it," Tilt roared. "But when I've got a nice comfortable bed and on the other side of that door, but not when I've got a nice comfortable bed on the other side of that door." The tents offered protection from the wind and snow, but not the cold. The candidates snuggled deep in their sleeping bags and tried to stay warm. The space was so confined that they found themselves pressed together like sardines. It made sleep impossible. "If you don't get your elbow out of my back, you're never leaving this tent alive," promised Tilt. Tilt promised Perry. "I can hardly move," Perry complained. He tried to get comfortable, but Tilt's bulk kept him pinned against the sidewall. "Hey, what's the problem, rich boy? Accommodations not to your liking?" Perry stared at him. "What are you talking about?" "Look at that stuff. Titanium Cramptons, the best axe money can buy, Gore-Tex everything." He tweaked the fabric of Perry's jacket. "Heat panels, right? You're toasty warm while the rest of us freeze." It was a present. "You're loaded." My dad works at the post office, Perry insisted stubbornly. You mean he owns it? Perry sighed. I've got a rich uncle, okay? He's the one who pays for all my stuff. You should get him to buy you some talent, the big boy taunted. You climb like my grandmother. Perry wasn't even insulted. The fact was, he reflected unhappily if it was possible to purchase mountaineering ability. Uncle Joe probably would have given him that too, along with the lessons and the equipment and the clothes. Money was no object for Uncle Joe. It was great and terrible at the same time, and now it was starting to get out of control.